the harbor docks, a white AE86 ghost drifts through the fog, a legend fading into memory. In the shadows, a young mechanic in a beaten-up van watches, his hidden past burning in his chest. A black Sylvia screeches into view, cutting him off like a blade.
Takeda, why now?
Look at you, Sato. Doctor of the engine, my ass. You are still just a garage boy running from the real road.
I am not a racer anymore. Leave me alone.
Not a racer? Then why were you drifting the old loop last week? Your secret's out, mechanic. Run or race.
Kazu's knuckles whiten on the wheel. The shame of that night rushes back. Takeda's engine roars and fades. Kazu's phone lights up. Mother.
The will, Dad's will is tomorrow?
The next morning, Kazu and his mother sat in a cold lawyer's office, the city sunlight harsh through the blinds. Mrs. Sato already sat with red-rimmed eyes, clutching a damp handkerchief. Kazu couldn't meet her gaze. The lawyer cleared his throat and read aloud, "To my son Kazu, I leave the AE86 and Sato Auto Garage, provided he wins the Drift Grand Prix. Should he fail, all assets transfer to Takeda."
Race. In the Grand Prix. Dad, you knew why I stopped.
You can't, Kazu. Promise me you won't do this. I lost your father to that race. I won't lose you.
But the AE86. Dad's legacy, if I don't, it all goes to Takeda.
The garage had been their lifeblood, and now it hung by a thread over a contest that had already cost them everything.
So, the mechanic finally hears his father's last joke. Will you crawl away, or dare to lose like him?
It's none of your business, Takeda. Get out.
His mother grabbed his arm, her grip desperate. The choice was unbearable, and for now, he could only let her lead him away. That evening, Kazu returned to the garage alone. The dusty AE86 sat under a tattered sheet, waiting like a ghost. He pulled back the cover, revealing the faded panda paint. Memories flooded every dent and scratch.
It's still here, just like the day he left.
Thought you'd come. That car hasn't moved in 8 years, but its engine still holds your father's genius. Your old man was the Drift King. He beat Takeda's father so badly, the man lost everything and died in disgrace. Now the son wants payback. That will is his weapon, and you are the trigger.
And I promised Mom I'd never drift again. That promise, it's the weight holding me still. Promise me you won't do this. Mom's voice hasn't stopped echoing since the office.
The promise was a chain around his neck, forged in grief. But the AE86 whispered a different obligation.
What do I do when both paths betray someone I love?
The garage door rolled open. Yuki, a mechanic with grease in her ponytail, froze at the sight of the uncovered AE86.
The AE86. Mr. Kenji's AE86. You finally brought it out?
It's not what you think. I was just remembering.
Remembering? You've barely looked at this car in years. Something happened. Spill it.
I used to drift, Yuki. Before Dad died, I was training to follow him. Then Mom made me promise to stop.
And now? The Grand Prix is your only chance to save this place. Kazu, I believe in you. I'll be your crew chief.
It's not that simple. If Mom finds out, she'll never forgive me.
His phone lit up. Race and you'll lose more than a garage. T.
Takeda, he's watching. Already.
He pocketed the phone, but the tremor in his hand betrayed the fear. Sunlight streamed into the garage as Kazu and Yuki cracked open the AE86's engine, tools clattering with renewed hope. When Kazu pulled a frayed notebook from under the driver's seat, his hands trembled. The pages were filled with his father's handwriting.
This is a complete drift manual and a secret ECU map. He knew I'd be back here.
That's priceless. With this, we can tune the AE86 to beat Takeda's tech. Your dad was a genius.
Maybe he never wanted me to stop drifting. Maybe he trusted me to carry this.
They dove into the notebook, matching every diagram to the engine. For hours, the garage echoed with purpose. Then, the garage door screeched open. Mrs. Sato stood rigid, her eyes fixed on the open hood.
You said you were just remembering, but you are rebuilding the car after all these years. You are going to race?
Mom, if I don't race, we lose everything. Dad wanted me to. I can't let Takeda take it.
She left without a word, tears streaming. Kazu stood frozen, the notebook heavy against his chest, a battlefield between two oaths. That night, Kazu stole away to the garage. The AE86's key weighed heavy in his palm, a solemn invitation on the mountain pass. The AE86's engine roared to life. Every vibration was an echo of a lesson taught long ago.
Dad, they called you the Drift King. Tonight, I want to feel what you felt.
The unspoken promise clawed at his mind, but with the first controlled drift, the weight shattered. Tire smoke painted the corners. Each weight shift was a word from his father's notebook, alive and deadly precise. At the overlook, Kazu killed the engine. In the window, his own reflection blurred, and Kenji's tired smile stared back.
You never wanted me to stop. You trusted me with this.
His hand found the phone. The screen light cut through the dark, and his thumbs moved without hesitation. To Yuki, he sent. Let's do it. We're racing. In the distance, a black Sylvia idled. Takeda lowered his binoculars, a satisfied smirk spreading. The prey had finally taken the bait. The next morning, Kazu and Yuki arrived at the Grand Prix venue, weaving through roaring engines and neon banners. At registration, Takeda stood with his crew, his voice slicing through the roar.
This garage rat has no right to be here. The Sato name is a joke. Disqualify him.
The officials produced the Will's Clause. Kazu's entry was valid. Takeda spat and stalked off. During practice, Kazu took the AE86 into a smooth drift. Confidence bloomed with each corner. Then the rear tire exploded. The AE86 whipped sideways, slamming a barrier. Kazu scrambled out, dazed.
The tire was new. This wasn't an accident.
Someone cut the valve stem. Takeda's crew did this. I'd bet my toolbox on it.
They changed the wheel in grim silence. The car was ready, but Kazu's hands still trembled. Across the pit, Takeda watched, his smirk unshaken. The qualifier was hours away, and Kazu knew a sliced tire was just the beginning. The qualifier began. Kazu lined up at the start, the pop-up headlights staring down the empty track.
Dad, guide me, just like the notebook.
He threw the AE86 into a perfect four-wheel drift, the weight shifting exactly as his father had diagrammed. He crossed the line, just 8th place. Takeda sat at the top, his Sylvia, a machine of precision. Spectators murmured. That mechanic made the cut. He'll be out first round.
You did it, Kazu. 8th is enough. We're in.
Then Takeda appeared, cutting through the crowd, his voice low.
That drift was too clean for a stock AE86. I know about your father's secret tuning. Cheating Sato.
He can't prove it, but if he talks, the officials might tear the car apart.
Without waiting for a reply, Takeda walked away, leaving Kazu standing in the dust of his victory. Back at the garage, Kazu and Yuki tore through the Grand Prix rulebook, searching for any hidden clause Takeda could weaponize.
The ECU map qualifies as historical restoration. Period modifications are legal.
Barely. But it holds. If Takeda's father hadn't been so greedy, this wouldn't be a loophole for us.
By evening, a notice arrived. Full engine inspection requested by the tournament sponsor. Attendance mandatory.
That sponsor, he's Takeda's backer. He wants more than the garage. He wants the tuning secrets.
I dug through old records. Years ago, Takeda's father tried to buy your dad's notes. Kenji refused, and the threats began.
The puzzle snapped into place. This wasn't just a grudge. It was a hunt for the AE86's hidden tech.
If they get the engine, they'll replicate it in Takeda's car. Sato Auto is just the price.
Then we don't let them touch it without a fight. We win on the track, and we prove our secret is skill, not just circuits.
The inspection was hours away. Kazu spent the night under the hood, tightening every bolt and memorizing every defense. At sunrise, a team of officials descended on the AE86, prying into every wire and valve. They found nothing. The tuning was within vintage restoration rules. The AE86 was legal.
Impossible. That old junker is hiding something.
By noon, a rumor spread through the paddock. The mechanic was running illegal nitrous oxide.
That's a lie. I trained Kazu myself for 8 years. He wouldn't cheat if his life depended on it.
The boss's words cut the whispers, but the online forums exploded with hate at the Sato house. Mrs. Sato watched the news. Mechanic Kazu Sato accused of illegal mods. Her teacup shattered on the floor.
He's destroying himself, just like his father.
Kazu's phone lit up. Mom. He stared at the screen, thumb hovering, then let it ring out. Each missed call drove the wedge deeper, but the next race was in 3 days. He couldn't afford to hear her voice. That night, Kazu removed the driver's seat to reroute the ECU harness, his mind still stinging from the online attacks. His fingers hit a false floor. A hidden compartment, sealed with age, gave way to reveal a yellowed envelope. He unfolded the letter. Kenji's handwriting, shaky but unmistakable. Kazu read aloud, his voice cracking. "If you are reading this, I am gone. Takeda's father tampered with my brakes. I have no proof, but I am certain. He wanted the AE86's secrets." The newspaper clippings scattered on the floor suddenly felt like a crime scene.
Dad wasn't just beaten, he was murdered.
Yuki rushed over, snatching the letter. Her hands shook as she read the final line. "Expose Takeda Motors. Search their old financial records. The truth is there."
Kazu! This isn't just about the garage anymore. It's about your father's name.
The AE86's engine was no longer just a prize. It was evidence in a killing, and Kazu was the only one who could drive it to the truth. Before dawn, Yuki spread research across the floor. Police reports, financial records, all pointing to Takeda Motors.
The accounts show a payment for racing brake boosters. Days before your father's race, they wanted a failure.
A brake booster. The exact part Dad mentioned.
They visited an old mechanic who once worked for Takeda's father. In a dim room, he finally spoke, voice trembling. The old man admitted. Kenji was forced to race. Takeda's father had threatened the garage. He saw the cut brake lines the next morning. Tampered, just like the letter said.
You knew. For 8 years, you stayed silent.
The old man wept. Outside, footsteps crunched. Takeda stood in the doorway, his face pale.
So, now you know. What will you do, Sato?
Kazu stared at the man who might have stolen his father's life. The race was no longer a game. Takeda's shock hardened into fury. He stepped close, voice a knife's edge.
Here is your chance, Sato. The final race. If you beat me, I'll confess everything. Takeda Motors will be investigated. But when I win, the AE86 and the garage are mine. And you'll hang up your helmet forever.
Everything or nothing. Dad's legacy, Mom's forgiveness, all on one race.
Kazu, don't. He's trying to trap you.
I accept. The final race. Winner takes the truth, and the loser takes the grave.
The deal was struck. The AE86's pop-up headlights seemed to watch, bearing silent witness. Hours later, a black van arrived at Takeda's pit. Corporate sponsors with cold eyes. They delivered an ultimatum. Lose, and all funding vanishes. Takeda's empire would crumble. Takeda stared at his father's cracked photograph. Win or lose, he knew he was fighting his own ghosts now. At the garage, the AE86's hood was open, but Kazu's hands had stopped moving. The door flew open.
I saw the news. A final race? You are putting your life against a murderer's son?
Mom, it's the only way to prove what they did to Dad. He was murdered. I have his letter.
And you'll die just like him. I can't lose another Sato to that track. Promise me you won't.
Dad's voice is all I hear now. I can't turn back.
Then you've already chosen his ghost over me. If you race, I'll never forgive you.
She didn't wait for an answer. The door slammed, and Kazu collapsed against the AE86's fender.
Kazu, you are not alone. I am still here.
It feels like everyone I love is slipping away. But if I stop now, Dad's murder stays buried.
He stood, wiping his face. The race was in 2 days. There was no road home now. Takeda had paid a crew to finish what they started. A shadow slid under the garage door, clutching a crowbar.
Someone's in the garage. I can see them on the camera.
Her thumb hit the alarm button. A deafening shriek filled the garage, and blue police lights soon washed the darkness. But the damage was done. The rear control arm bore a deep crack. A hairline fracture ready to snap.
Another hour of driving, and this would have broken on the track. They wanted me dead.
We can weld it and brace it with a spare arm from the scrap pile. It won't be perfect, but it'll hold for one race.
Under the flickering garage light, sparks flew as they bent over the suspension. Welding through the early hours, they took the AE86 for a brief test around the block. The brace held, but a nervous vibration haunted the chassis. At dawn, Kazu ran a trembling hand over the scarred metal, a silent prayer to his father. They loaded the wounded AE86 onto the trailer. The rising sun revealed the track looming ahead, a cathedral of fate. The grandstands erupted as the final race began. Engines revved, and the scent of burning rubber filled the air.
Kazu adjusted his helmet. In the crowd, a familiar face, his mother, expression unreadable.
Even she came to watch you fail.
The lights went out. The two cars roared onto the track, locked in a tandem drift for the title.
Stay calm, Kazu. He'll try to rattle you.
They flew into the first corner. Takeda's Sylvia darted right, slamming his door against the AE86 with a violent crunch.
He's trying to spin me into the barrier.
Sparks flew as metal kissed metal. The AE86 wobbled, but held its line, tires screaming. Kazu countered with a precise throttle lift, rebalancing the car. Takeda surged ahead, but the gap stayed narrow. The first lap was barely over, and already the battle had turned into a brawl. Into the second lap, the AE86 and Sylvia danced a deadly waltz, doors inches apart.
He's pushing too hard. Time for Dad's phantom shift.
Kazu feathered the brake while jerking the wheel briefly left, then right. The AE86's weight snapped across like a pendulum.
What was that? He can't be that good.
Enraged, Takeda dove harder into the next turn, his tires belching a thick white cloud that swallowed both cars.
I am blind. Trust the line. Dad's notes said to hold the inner apex.
Kazu executed a reverse entry, flicking the AE86 backward into a perfect drift, emerging from the smoke ahead of the Sylvia. The grandstands gasped. The AE86 shot forward, a ghost escaping the fog. Takeda, desperate, stabbed the throttle. His rear tires lost grip, and the Sylvia snapped into a violent spin. Metal screamed as the black Sylvia plowed rear first into the barrier. Smoke and debris filled the track. Kazu remained unanswered. The AE86 shot across the finish line first, checkered flags whipping in the wind. The crowd exploded, but Kazu didn't celebrate. He slammed the brakes and stopped the AE86 beside the mangled Sylvia. He tore off his helmet and sprinted to the wreck. Takeda was slumped in the seat, dazed and bleeding,
Don't you dare die on me, Takeda. We need you alive to tell the truth.
Medics swarmed the scene. The grandstand hushed, thousands watching the mechanic become a hero. At the fence, Mrs. Sato pressed her hands against the wire, tears streaming. Her lips moved in a silent prayer.
He saved him. Kenji, our son, chose mercy.
As Takeda was lifted onto a stretcher, his eyes met Kazu's. Not a word passed, but something shifted. The checkered flag still waved, but the true victory had just begun in the silence of that rescue. Kazu stood alone beside the battered AE86, the title Drift King, now carrying a weight he never imagined. Officials beckoned Kazu to the podium, the golden trophy shining. But he stepped back from the microphone.
I don't want this trophy until the whole truth is heard. My father, Kenji Sato, was murdered.
He raised the worn letter, his voice steady. The crowd hushed as he read his father's final words aloud. The silence shattered when Takeda limped onto the stage, bandages still red, a tremor in his step.
He's telling the truth. My father sabotaged Kenji's car. For years I covered it up. I am sorry, Kazu. I resigned from Takeda Motors and will cooperate with any investigation. The Sato name is clear.
Gasps and whispers erupted. Cameras flashed, capturing the collapse of an empire and the birth of a legend.
Kenji, he did it. Our son cleared your name.
Kazu placed the trophy on the ground and extended his hand to Takeda. A tentative shake sealed a fragile peace. In that moment, the AE86's legacy wasn't just a victory, it was a reckoning. The crowd parted. Mrs. Sato walked slowly, her tears cutting clean paths through the dust.
Kazu, I was wrong. Your father would be so proud of what you did today.
Mom, I am sorry I broke my promise, but I had to clear his name.
She pulled him into a long embrace. The weight of 8 years crumbled between them.
That's the Sato family I remember.
Cameras flashed, but for the first time, Kazu didn't notice. He was home, back at the garage. The faded Sato Auto sign flickered to life, illuminating the street for the first time in years.
Kenji always said this garage would shine again. He just needed the right driver behind the wheel.
And the best mechanic crew, too. We've got a race to win next season, right?
Under the glowing sign, the AE86 rested, no longer a ghost, but a promise kept. A week later, a fresh sign hung over the garage, Sato and Yuki Auto. The paint still smelled new.
Kazu, if you file another gasket under paperwork, I am demoting you to tire rotation.
The laughter died when a silhouette filled the doorway. Takeda, in a plain jacket, held a worn duffel bag.
I know I don't deserve it, but if there's any work, I am ready to start over.
Kazu stared, then nodded toward the toolbox. A tense silence turned into a slow exhale.
He's actually giving me a second chance.
At noon, 3 pairs of hands worked in sync. The garage filled with the rhythm of wrenches and quiet conversations.
You've turned a feud into a fellowship. Your father would be proud, all of you.
Second chances don't come often. We're not wasting ours.
The garage hummed with engines and quiet laughter. A legacy reborn, not in a single victory, but in the daily work of rebuilding. The coastal highway unwound before the AE86, the setting sun bleeding gold across the water.
I don't think I've ever seen a sunset this beautiful. Maybe it's the company.
He pulled over at a familiar overlook where the sea met the cliffs and killed the engine. From his pocket, he drew a faded omamori, the silk threadbare, and the kanji almost unrecognizable.
Dad's charm, it kept him safe through 100 races. Now it'll watch over this car.
It's perfect. A little piece of him riding with us, always.
She leaned into him, her head finding the curve of his shoulder as the first stars emerged.
Promise me, we'll do this after every race season, no matter what.
Moonlight silvered the road As the AE86 glided home, a familiar hum in the dark, the legacy lives on.